Hello, hello. Welcome on inside. Welcome on in. Good morning, Roll Gang, and welcome to another episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. It is so exciting to be here with you this Thursday morning, this Cannabis News Thursday morning. I've got some extremely exciting cannabis news this week relative to the other Canna News Thursday episode. I mean, this is some pretty exciting shit, I must say. It's also draft day here in Las Vegas, home to the 2022 NFL draft. And I am so excited to be here with you guys. What's happening, Jordan? J Victor 41 with the clap emojis. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody tapping in here. Let's get on into this episode. Welcome on in, Roll Gang, to another fabulous morning weekday wake and bake. We like to go live here 8 a.m. Pacific every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch to smoke some pot, talk about some news or some... Today is Canna News Thursday, and I would just like to do a major shout out to everybody, single one of you. This show happens for you personally, so just really appreciate everybody and really excited to get on into this episode. I'm feeling a little antsy, a little, and I need to smoke some pot so that we can turn on anchor processor mode, and I can maybe dive into these cannabis related news topics for you. There has been some major news. I have 4 different news stories, and I think each one of them is an absolute banger. So super excited to get into those with you. Major shout out, Canna Planet. Good morning to you. And yeah, let's get on into this. This, as per the usual, is brought to you by this crazy cannabis multi-tool called the Rolling Spoon that I'm about to use to roll a dime, just like we do every single weekday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, here on the Weekday Wake and Bake. And this show in particular is not only brought to you by the Rolling Spoon, but as you can see on one of the best dispensaries in the country, Summerlin's very own Show Grow Dispensary, home of the most productions of the Rolling Spoon. They have 3 different productions, y'all. I hope some of you have all 3. We got the V1, the first ever Rolling Spoon, V1 Show Grow. We got V2 Show Grow. And we got the 420 Show Grow. We are very appreciative here on this show for Show Grow. We can call this the Show Grow Show, in fact. And we're going to be rolling up some of this fine herb with our Rolling Spoon. I'm actually going to be using this one-of-a-kind high bud tender spoon. Shout out Cannabis Rocky and Jarrell. Got the High Bud Tenders podcast. We love that gang too. So we got our paper. I got a little gumball full of cannabis filters here that I got from the MJ BizCon. This really inventive girl had a gumball machine, but each quarter gets you a little ball of filters. I used all the filters that she gave me originally. They were like purple and green, but I put my own filters in her little gumball case because I like it. I think it's really smart. So I'm going to use my rolling spoon to scoop my herb. I need to get that even distribution. You can kind of control better how it lays in the joint. And once we have an even distribution, we can be sure that we're going to have an even burn. And I can't stress it enough. Here on the Weekday Wake and Bake, we need to have an even burn so that we can chop it up about our topic at hand. And this joint just simply has to help me pervade this exciting cannabis news. There is some really, really exciting shit. Good morning, Ford Dandy. Great to see you this morning. Absolutely great to see you, Ford Dandy. Shout out to you. We're about to spark up this fine cannabis joint. Boom, baby. Oh, look at that. That is a stick. That is the stick. And you know how professors have their stick? Well, this is the processor stick right here. I'm about to fucking baby. Who wants to smoke with me? Let's go ahead and spark up. Episode brought to you by the Rolling Spoon, by Showgrow Dispensary. Both of which helping you single time here on the Weekday Wake and Bake. Yes. Mercedington says, excited to listen to the news. Yo, the news, I promise, these news sections will not disappoint. And yeah, pre-rolls do run. These ones will not. This cherry will be perfect the whole way down. If we can get a good spark here, you know what we like to do. Because if you get an even distribution, you're going to get an even pull and an even burn. Ooh. That is exactly what a news anchor needs here in the morning for this Canna News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. Welcome on in. Let's get on into this cannabis news. So, the first news story coming from KC. We have this is some big shit. Take a rip to increase suspense. You know how it is. So California has proposed Assembly Bill 2691 to allow cannabis growers to sell their products at farmers markets. A farmers market in NorCal or in Humboldt, where all of the outdoor growers are just growing some of the best outdoor in the world. Up the weekly farmers market. Flowers, you got edibles, you got it all. It's way better than a dispensary because it's all fresh and it's represented by the person that procured that cannabis. What an exciting piece of movement for California. That would make it so much easier to acquire clean, cheap product that you can trust and that grew it. It'll just make you feel that much more comfortable for whenever you're smoking it and inhaling it. I am really excited that California proposed Assembly Bill allow the cannabis growers themselves, the people that are actually producing this fine cannabis for California's best-in-class market. And they're going to sell the cannabis at these farmers markets. Ford Dandy says, yeah, that would be awesome. Dave Katz, shout out DCat7, says amazing. Mercedington, that sounds like a beautiful fun, what's new. Imagine what these people would be able to come up with. They can produce it however they want since they grew it and they're just selling it as their brand. It'll lower cost, increase creativity. I mean, it is such a nice movement for the California market. I think it'll affect the markets everywhere because demand for certain products are going to rise. Certain products are going to get popular at the farmers market, and that might be for products to become popular throughout the country in this industry. So Mercedington says creative and weed equals boom shakalaka. That is right. We love creative pot smokers. Anyways, shout out California proposing the bill to let growers sell their products in farmers markets. The next piece of cannabis news is from MJ Moment, and it is just a quote from the United States Attorney General. So the United States Attorney General would be the person in charge for prosecuting someone at the federal level for a pot sentence. And his quote was, marijuana enforcement is, quote, not efficient use of federal resources. Claimed that prosecutions like these are just simply not occurring. This just makes me feel so much comfortable. I'm personally an Oaksterdam University graduate. Oaksterdam was the first cannabis college to ever exist in Oakland, California. And they got raided by the federal government. All of their plants, all their resources that had cannabis in it got taken by the federal government. They didn't make any arrests. And he is right. They haven't been prosecuting individuals, but they've been heckling people. And I am very pleased that he was at least accountable enough to admit that it's not an efficient use for federal resources. Like if you're going to use our tax dollars to do something, it's got to make a change. And heckling pot smokers is just not the way. So just another huge movement at the federal level. The Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, being accountable for the benign nature of cannabis. Very little downside to a very beautiful plant. Will raise lots of tax dollars and probably just boost the economy as a whole. My last one has a lot to do with the economy and cannabis use. So the next one is also an extremely important study. But before I get on into it, this baby's burning evenly. I'm letting it go out because I talk a lot, but I'm Rolling Spoon. Get yours at Showgrow. You know how it is. Thank you, everybody, tapping in. This episode is, as always, brought to you by the Rolling Spoon. Mercedington with The More You Know. Indeed. The more you know, the more you know. And PharmaGlow Trade says, for all allopathic medicine. Pharmaceutical trade. But anyways, the next piece of cannabis news is the connection that's tied between dropping prescription drug abuse and the legislation of pot. So in the 10 legal adult use, and also Washington, D.C., marijuana legislation significantly reduced prescription drug abuse. And the scripts specifically that marijuana is replacing are depression, anxiety, for pain, seizures, psychosis, and sleep. In these states, people were abusing, opioids and other types of dangerous prescription medications. People are actually turning to cannabis, which is leading to an overall lack of so it's really exciting to see that the cannabis legislation in states around the country is dropping prescription drug abuse, because prescription drug for a while, I personally know so many people whose lives have been negatively affected by opioids, and it's really exciting to see that this plant is making an actual difference based on the numbers. These are facts. study on mjmoment.com. I encourage you guys to go check it out, read the article. There's some really exciting findings there. Woo! This baby's got me cooking. One more story for y'all, and then we're going to just get on with our draft day. You know, it's NFL draft day. Home of the NFL draft is here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, on the red carpet stage, on the Bellagio fountain, they built a stage and invited to the NFL draft fancy dance. And they're just kids that are about to get a job, their dream job. Always exciting for me, a huge diehard Tennessee Titans fan. Really excited to see where these prospects land. So the last piece this week, New Jersey has had their first day of adult use cannabis. So medical dispensaries throughout New Jersey turned officially to adult use a couple days ago. And on one day, they did $1.9 million in sales to 12,500 people in one state in one day. What a fucking impact. Excuse my French, but cannabis is making a difference here in this. Absolutely undeniable. It is so exciting to be a part of. It's so exciting to read the cannabis news and see how the pot's stirring throughout the past week. We've had some significant moving and shaking throughout the last week. This episode has been incredibly satisfying. New Jersey absolutely killing it. $1.9 million, one industry, one day. And so proud of this plant, so proud of New Jersey. Mercedes loves it too. And you know that we are just all part of this green rush, and high tide raises all ships. Great to see that people are finally being excited and showing their excitement for this beautiful plant. And every weekday morning, we like to smoke it. 8 a.m. Pacific time with you guys, the Roll Gang. As always, this show is 100% for you. Brought to you by the Rolling Spoon. I'm Processor Sky, your anchor here for Canon News Thursday, and we will be back tomorrow for Fuck Yeah Friday after this first round of the NFL draft, which I will be attending. If anybody else is going to be in attendance, please hit the DM for the Rolling Spoon Instagram page. Shout out everybody tapping in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You guys are all shit. You know, this show will go live for you guys always. You can depend on that. It is not ending anytime soon, Roll Gang. And we just so appreciate having you. Next week, we'll be decked out with guests, I promise. This week, we're actually having a delay posting them on IG